this is a company I don't want to miss anything that they're doing.
Yeah.
Because it's a window opening onto a different way of looking at stuff. That's not usually what opera does.
No.
So,
Like, how do you, in just a few sentences, communicate that that's going on here?
my name is Gregory Ford. I've attended in-series performances since the early days. And more recently, I've written about in-series performances, both for DC Theater Scene and for DC Metro Theater Arts.
Well, I'm Whitney Fishburn. I was the chief critic and desk editor for the classical music and opera beat at DC Metro Theater Arts. But as the pandemic turned all the theaters dark, I took that time to follow other pursuits, which I'm still doing. So I'm not currently reviewing in Washington, but my love and my respect for Tim Nelson and for the in-series has never gone dark.
To understand the artistic journey and role it has played in the cultural life of the city, in-series asked critics of the Washington Post and other DC art and cultural critics for the past 40 years to share thoughts about this company and what it means to our community. Joe McLellan was a music critic for the Washington Post throughout the early days of the in-series. Joe passed away in 2005, but it was through his passionate advocacy for the mission and work of in-series that the organization was able to make the challenging transition to an independent arts producer. He likened the role of a critic to that of a gardener, seeing what needs fertilizing and what needs pruning. In the end, the garden should reflect the values the gardener embodied. His articulation of the importance of in-series secured the original investment that supported those first independent years. And his words from then still capture the part in-series plays in DC's cultural life. Take a look at the opera in the chapel. Imagination, ingenuity, youthful energy, and high spirits, unlike anything available in the area.
Joe Vanno wrote frequently for the Washington Post, as well as being the director of opera and theater in his own right. In considering in-series place in the past 40 years, Joe offers this, quote, "Savvy DC audiences don't need to be told how for 4 decades in-series has been the one reliable place to go for fresh updatings of centuries-old opera. But I wonder how aware those audiences are of just how vital in-series has been to local artists. On a personal level, that's meant opportunities for me as a director to reimagine a slew of Mozart's grandest operas as intimate modern chamber works. But think too about the dozens of fine singers with smaller scale, lyrical voices who found unimagined opportunities to sing large-scale dramatic repertoire at in-series and bring a unique beauty and delicacy to those roles. Or consider the musicians who've been able to shine as soloists in small ensembles while playing entire opera scores that their careers might not otherwise afford them the chance to perform. I think with special affection of the accordionist who brought the whiff of a Sicilian trattoria to my staging of Pagliacci. And let's not forget the writers in their formative years whose wholesale deconstructions of classic opera libretti made in-series productions so distinctive. I value beyond words my in-series collaborations with Ali Curran, a multiple Helen Hayes nominated playwright, Kelly Rourke, whose libretto adaptations are a central feature at Glimmerglass Opera, and Charlotte Stout, later to become a writer and producer on Showtime's blockbuster Homeland. We artists owe a huge debt of gratitude to Carla and the indefatigable Sven, and now to Tim's inspired leadership. Thank you.
Another critical voice that has been an important champion of in-series work and the role it plays is Midgette, who covered classical music and opera for the Washington Post from 2008 to 2019. And importantly, during the transition from founding artistic director Carla Hübner to current artistic director Timothy Nelson. In considering in-series' unique place in the cultural life of this city and in the world of opera and theater, made from music beyond, Anne offers these words: small opera companies are vital to the performing arts ecology. Showing opera can be done in different ways and with fresh approaches you can't always find in traditional opera houses. In-series, in all its incarnations, is the best example of this I know. A place where you can see exciting, thought-provoking work of a high standard on an intimate scale. Few companies of this size are well enough established to outlive their mom and pop founders, much less to reinvent themselves with a complete changing of the guard. And it is testimony to how well Carla Huebner conceived and developed the N-Series that the company has been able to embark on a whole new chapter under Timothy Nelson. Its small size belies the magnitude of its increasingly probing and ambitious work. You never know what you're going to get at an N-Series evening, but you can be pretty sure it's something you will think about for a long time afterwards. Some of the most exciting performances I've seen in the DC area have been N-Series productions. The company deserves to be known far more widely. May its visionary online offerings help that to happen in the company's next 40 years.
Hear, hear. Debbie Mintner Jackson is one of the founders of DC Theater Scene and a prominent writer on DC arts and culture. Debbie shares, in-series productions have wowed me and kept me coming back for years. Filled with vitality, creativity, and verve, they satisfy that craving for a new approach, something different and out of the ordinary, truly extraordinary. The scenes, messages, soul, and spirit of their shows soar through the exquisite music with a precious human touch. And that is the key distinction I have witnessed in their productions over the years. They capture and reflect the essence of the human spirit with simplicity and grace. From opera to jazz, historical to contemporary, the range and styles of their shows have kept me captivated, breathless, enchanted, and longing for more. So here's to another fun-filled 40 years.
While I have sung all my life, the world of opera presented barriers to me, both in its often tradition-bound staging and its tendency to exclude people who look like me from its content and casting. For the past 40 years, in-series productions have worked to normalize the idea that opera can happen anywhere and almost anyhow, and the content of opera can and should contain all humanity rather than only a small portion of it. Thus, N-Series has been in the business of breaking down those barriers that I experience and that might keep any of DC's citizens from deciding that opera is for them too. So, to the N-Series, happy 40th birthday, and may you continue breaking down those barriers.
More than once, I have heard opera referred to as the church of the arts, given that it engages all the senses except perhaps smell. But with Tim, there is more to it than that. I don't think most people realize how spiritual Tim is and how his work emanates always from the depth of his faith in God, in humankind, and in the mystical powers of music. So to consider N-Series and the Source Theater as conduits to the sublime would be accurate, but it would be less so were Tim not so clearly delivering his vision through his intense faith and also his skill as a bard. And by that, I mean that every artistic and directorial choice that Tim makes is intended to instruct us, the audience, on how we can do better and be better. Just as bards of old would do for the kings that they entertained while also shrewdly advising them. It's a delicate task, one that certainly requires faith because kings are often egomaniacs and will just as easily kill you as they will thank you for pointing out where they are off course. And no one likes a bossy pants know-it-all, and especially theater goers who are there to seek inspiration, not be scolded. But here we are, 40 years in, and the bardic tradition at N-Series not only lives on, but shimmers with kindness and compassion and damn fine entertainment. And it serves to remind us that we can always choose kindness and compassion. We can always choose to do better. So happy, happy Ruby anniversary.